Hello, peeps. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Wherever you're listening to me from, my name is Ozie Ejiofo, the daughter of Nofija people, the one whose flash of her teeth brings out money from your pockets. Afam Ozie Ejiofo, I don't know Nofija Jiemono, I don't know before Rochezi Ego Gana Wish. And I saw something that attracted me to talk about this evening. I just pray we have an open mind towards this conversation and possibly share it to as much people as you think needs to see it, needs to watch it, needs to understand what's happening. It's important because abahuzo weremba onahechi. So I would read an article. I would read something. When I read this, then we will be able to analyze it better. When I read it properly, then we will be able to analyze it very much better. So I saw this. Finnish court approves Simon Ekpa's extradition to Nigeria to face terrorism trial. Finnish court approves Simon Ekpa's extradition to Nigeria to face terrorism trial. Like I said, I will beg us to have an open mind towards this conversation so that we will better understand ourselves very well. The more shares of this video, the better for us all. Makana osisi ka agwara na ya egbu ya okuru mana mmadu igwara anya na ya egbu ya ogbanagaba. So let me read. In a pivotal development with far-reaching implications for regional security and international justice, Finnish authorities have approved the extradition of Simon Ekpa, the controversial Finnish-Nigerian separatist agitator, to Nigeria. The transfer is scheduled for July 15, 2025, following the ruling of the Pijat District Court in Lati on April 18, 2025. Ekpa, who has long styled himself as the Prime Minister of self-declared Biafra Republic government in exile, has been a central figure in the agitation of Biafran independence. His faction, which splits from the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, after the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, is accused of stoking violence and unrest in Nigeria's southeast through incendiary online broadcast radical directives. The 2024 arrest of Ekpa in Lati, Finland, marked the culmination of a month-long investigation led by Finnish authorities who accused him of using digital platforms to incite violence against civilians, security operatives, and government institutions in Nigeria. He also alleged to have orchestrated a series of violent sit-at-home orders that paralyzed economic activity in the southeastern states of Nigeria. 4 alleged co-conspirators were also arrested in connection with the financing and facilitating his operations from abroad. The Nigerian government, which has persistently sought his extradition, welcomed the court's decision as a significant win for regional stability and international cooperation. A senior official from the Ministry of Defense described the ruling as a triumph for justice and stern warning to those who believe they can undermine the sovereignty of Nigeria from foreign land. Ekpa has far too long fanned the flame of violence in the southeast, causing in the southeast fear, instability, and bloodshed, the official added. His extradition is not just about punishment. It is about restoring peace and holding accountable those who choose terror over violence. Finland, known for its stringent extradition standards and commitments to human rights, initially hesitated to transfer Ekpa due to legal and diplomatic constraints. Finnish law typically prohibits the extradition of its citizens outside the European Union or Nordic countries. However, the Nigerian government, working through the Ministry of Justice and International Legal Framework, submitted extensive evidence of Ekpa's alleged violations, including documented cases of targeted attacks and threats to national security. Under the provision of the Rome Statute, to whom both Nigeria and Finland are signatories, and through mutual legal assistance treaties, Finland agreed to cooperate in the extradition, ensuring all procedures adhered strictly to international human rights norms. The Finnish Ministry of Justice reiterated that the decision was made on the grounds of compelling evidence and in full compliance with due process. Ekpa's return to Nigeria is expected to open a high-profile legal chapter, with authorities indicating that he will be charged with terrorism, incitement of violence, conspiracy, and other crime against the Nigerian states. Human rights observers and international diplomatic mission are also expected to monitor the proceedings closely. The credit of this message is from Daily Times, Nigeria. Daily Times is a newspaper, newspaper online channel. Those are the people who wrote this, and I saw it and I felt, no, this is a good case for discussion. So guys, what do you think about this extradition? Here is what I think. You see, sometimes when we try to exempt ourselves from an incident, we really do not look at the real reason why the incident began in the first place. The little I know about Ekpa, in fact, I never knew him. I just know Nnamdi Kanu before knowing Ekpa. And there was a broadcast that I did that somebody wanted me to say something in line with what he wanted me to say, but it didn't go down well with me, so I refused to say what he wanted me to say, and it created a riffle in his mind, and he put the broadcast inside an IPOB channel that sprouted a serious roar. And he didn't put what he said that made me say what I said. He didn't put it. And I'm sorry. Only a few people who are very knowledgeable and very intelligent knew that I couldn't have said this to this guy if he didn't say something. Only a few. They came inbox to know what's up. And when I told them what really happened, they were really disappointed. For me, when you will know, hear me and hear me well, when you will know that Nigerian government, Nigerian security apparatus is working and working very well, is when it concerns an Igbo man. Did you hear me? When you will know that Nigerian government and Nigerian security architecture works extremely well, is when it concerns an Igbo man. I hope the governors of the Southeast are able to see this video. It will please my soul so much. I'll give you various instances. I love Igboho. He represents what he feels he represents. And he gives no two fucks about it. When he had his issues, his kingsmen, the big men in his states, the Yoruba-speaking states, made sure that he wasn't extradited to Nigeria. They were so vehemently rallying around him so much to push him to Benin, Seme, all those areas, and away. They refused him to come in. And eventually, when he was done with Yoruba, Izauba, and returned back to Nigeria, it was as if it was a president coming in. Who saw that? Do I have a witness? When Igboho was coming back to Nigeria, after various trials outside Nigeria, remember, he fled Nigeria, stuffs were found in his home, guys were caught in his home holding various kinds of ammunition. They refused anything happening to him around these ends because he was fleeing Nigeria until he was apprehended somewhere around the borders. They refused him coming into this country. They rather treated his fuck-ups around those areas. And eventually, after Izauba, when he was coming back to Nigeria, believe me, he was treated like a king coming in. If you see the convoy that followed him through when he was coming in, you will know that yes, a son of the soil was actually coming in. No apologies. Has anything ever happened to Sunday Igboho from then till now? Nothing has happened to him and nothing will happen to him. Nothing absolutely will happen to him. And that's the Yoruba nation for you. They don't care. Nothing will happen to him. If you won't die, go die. They don't send you. But how about if it's an Hausa man or a Fulani man? You will hear bandits caught and amnesty given. Do I have a witness? Bandits caught and alleged amnesty given. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. But guess what? This extradition of Simeon Ekpa, watch and see. Half of the people struggling for his return may be his brothers. When I say his brothers, I mean his bosom brothers. We have a bigger problem around this area. And that's why anybody can actually come in, insult us, and go away just freely. Watch it. Eventually, when Simon Ekpa is extradited into this country, you would hear for sure that in one way or the other, an Igbo man is involved with his return or in his return. Believe me, you would be shocked. We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen again and again and again. The moles are usually within. And I wonder why we know these moles and we know them far off. We don't even need to let them come near because we know the moles. You would see that when he returns to Nigeria, it will be a party of Ndikwen and Dekwero. But there is something that Nigerian government has failed to understand. I think they failed to understand that the Biafra agitation is a movement. It's way beyond Nnamdi Kanu and also way beyond Simon Ekpa. The agitation, it's a movement. It's like a movement. If you kill Nnamdi Kanu, the movement continues. If you kill Simon Ekpa, the movement continues. In fact, there are way more fierce agitators, more than Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, like 100 times joined together. From the look of things, let me give you the reason I say so. Ever since Nnamdi Kanu has been in prison, there hasn't been peace around the southeast. Whether we believe it or not, it is the truth. There hasn't been sufficient peace around the east. Even as Simon Ekpa co-opted himself out of IPOB and started answering a separate name, detaching himself absolutely from being an IPOB member, there hasn't also been peace. Absolutely. Now, people will begin to assume, since they held him, I've spoken about the holding of Nnamdi Kanu, since they held Simon Ekpa, have there been peace? Have there been peace? I don't think there has been peace. Instead, it became tougher by the day. I would need to also analyze the cardinal points for holding Ekpa. Fear, for causing the southeast, for causing fear. Oh yes, has there been fear? Ever since they held him bound, has the fear stopped? It hasn't stopped. Instability. Has there been instability consistently even when he was held in prison or in detention? Absolutely. You can imagine how Anambra became, where people were killed and their heads cut off. Like, cut off. Has there been bloodshed? Oh yes, in grand style, there has been bloodshed, even after Ekpa was held. Okay, where do we classify this? A lot of people think it's only Ekpa that is giving instruction of the mayhem that is happening around the southeast. A couple of politicians have also enabled it so high. Now, the politics played around insecurity in the southeast cannot even be overemphasized. I'm so heartbroken that this April marked it the 3rd year that my brother was killed in Arondizo Ogokigwe Road, courtesy of Fulani headsmen. They caught him, caught the driver, we paid, they released only the driver and killed my brother, Okechukwu Ejiofo. My name is Oziome Ejiofo. So, some scrupulous elements cashed in on Nnamdi Kanu's agitation, cashed in on Ekpa's style of agitation, and started committing serious mayhem. But why I think there is a mistake on Ekpa's side is his inability to properly specify the same way IPOB usually specified when some incident happened in some places, to say, we do not have a hand in this. We did not do this. In fact, those who did it should be caught and brought to book. I think that's Ima powerful, created a serious edge for IPOB, for people to understand properly what IPOB stood for and what they are for and where they were headed. Ekpa didn't see that as a good model operandi. He never ever came out to say, I see a lot of people calling my name, just like you're seeing VDM coming out to say, Iyabo's daughter just got married, and they said VDM says she not going to amount to anything. She will always behave like her mother. VDM age her wedding. VDM asked her. They just lifted an old video, merged it to the wedding. VDM now say. And if you watched closely, he would come out to say, make una leave me. I no get time for all these things. I no really get time for all these things. Allow this girl enjoy her marriage. Why are you people trying to cause trouble? Because I didn't say that. Ekpa didn't see Nigeria as a reasonable place where he could say, I don't know why you all are calling my name when this happens. Yes, I can give orders for everybody to sit at home because we're trying to do this, or remember our heroes, or remember some days in the year that one thing or the other happened, or remember some fellas whom you people killed at some point in our lives and we need to honor them. Ekpa did not come out to say, this killing that is happening in this place, that place, is not me. I don't have any hand in it. It is not my business. Please, you Nigerian government, go chase the people who are committing mayhem around those places. Instead, he felt he was taking glory in cashing out on instability. He felt he was the man of the moment because he was trending. He never ever countered anything that he didn't do. So what it meant to us is he took responsibility of both the things he did and those he didn't do. Obalinkiti kwerekwe. Obuni ekwuputaro biakwulu ọnụ gị na ihe imero ana-ekwu na imeli ya. People will think for real that you did it. I want us to strategically notice the kind of killing that has happened between the time they caught Ekpa and when Soludo started sanitizing Anambra. That is when you will understand that we have more than 1,000 Ekpas existing everywhere around the East. I hope this is making sense. It's not only Ekpa. So Nigerian government in Ekpa, like I said, from the moment Simon Ekpa was caught in Finland and held banned, to Soludo sanitizing Anambra, if you knew how many people went down that were killed, you will know that Simon Ekpa was just fooling himself, because he is even not the real Ekpa. There were so many Ekpas existing in various channels in all over the East, committing different styles of mayhem. But because he knew he had the glory and the glamour of commanding respect for saying, guys, sit at home, and everywhere goes still. Nobody goes out. People stay home until evenings when people go to drink and watch football. He took the glory to himself, thinking he was cheating the world. Now, on the 15th of July, eventually, if he is truly, as alleged, going to be extradited, they will come back here, Boya Jina Aja, both the ones that he did and the ones that he didn't do, because he never came out to counter anything that he did not do. Rather, he felt he was glorying in his strength as Simon Ekpa, who commanded respect, and in all honesty, he did command respect. In all honesty. Because when he says, guys, please do not go out, sit at home, the 5 states of the Southeast quickly sits at home, nobody goes out, Mangweremoke. Let me come back again. You know, the worst thing that happens to any individual is, I don't know how to say it in English, but mmadụ ịnyaru uriri n'akpa na-akụ ọka. Ịnyaru uriri n'akpa, ị na-akụ ọka. Knowing you have a mole and you're able to smell your mole, you know you have a mole, but you don't want to accept that you really do have a mole. I repeat again. The Biafra agitation is a movement. Killing Nnamdi Kanu, it goes on. Kill Simon Ekpa, it goes on. The country is so toxic that we've raised bigger Nnamdi Kanus, bigger Simon Ekpas. There are some in Abia. There are some in Anambra. There are some in Enugu. In fact, you don't even know where to begin the classification. So let Nigerian government not glory in themselves in trying to extradite Ekpa, thinking that when they hold Ekpa down, that there would be peace in the Southeast. I don't see that coming. I see it like more trouble coming. Please listen. I see it like more trouble coming. Because more trouble came when they held Nnamdi Kanu. Further trouble ensued when they held Simon Ekpa. And I presume that more trouble will befall the Southeast again when they extradite Simon Ekpa into Nigeria to come and zaoba for Nigerian government. Because much Simon Ekpa has risen already. Asimukwo, I will say Simon Ekpa zabuba in Finland, so that he doesn't bring us more trouble down here. We've had a lot of trouble. People have died. Last week I was watching some police people. Is it police people? Yeah. Showing skulls. I don't know where that was, because having a living dead for my family, I couldn't watch more than a minute. My head could not carry. But I was seeing skulls. People were thinking it was film trick. But I knew my brother's skull may be there. So I couldn't just carry it. Extraditing Simon Ekpa back to Nigeria is going to cause serious trouble for the Southeast. That is what I see coming. The Southeast governors have pretentiously pretended like Obasa Hohaye Neme na Igbo. Behind closed doors, I know they talk. I know they do meetings, security meetings. I know they re-strategize. People hardly know about these strategies. And because they are silent about it, a lot of people will think that they are not working. But of course, they are not working as far as we're concerned, because nothing has been said in real terms. You cannot keep quiet for so long. You all cannot keep quiet for so long. That is the truth. Remember, Finnish government is telling us that it's not in their usual way to extradite any of their citizens to any country outside Europe, outside Rome. That's what they said. It's not in their character. But because they've signed a peace accord between themselves and Nigeria, they would have to just take the evidences that they've seen that Nigerian government has tendered. Remember, like I said, it's not just glorying in cheating the world. It's about the people who want Simon Ekpa back. Trust me. Obrandugu na choka Simon Ekpa nata obeda. Obrokwandu Yoruba because Obasa horoha. Believe me, when he returns, you will hear the people who are trying to extradite him. Because the Northerners have had enough of the troubles that the Easterners are facing. In fact, I don't want that we are facing it, because we've been in peace and they've been suffering. Simon Ekpa, Nigeria. In fact, because they know he's a distraction. They know he's a trouble coming. He is real trouble coming. President Tinubu knows that Simon Ekpa coming back to Nigeria is real trouble coming for him, because the instability that will befall the Southeast will be overwhelming. He's not even able to face that of the North. When you join the East and the West join together. He's not even able to combat that of the West, where Fulani headsmen keep killing the Westerners. When you combine the North, the East and the West. So Simon Ekpa is the least of Tinubu's problem, if you ask me. The very least of Tinubu's problem. it is the same we, Ndibo. It is the same we that are bringing Simon Ekpa back on the 15th of July. Man, guess what? Oga kaya kamaru. Mewu mokoko. Mewu mokoko. It's not even a threat. The reason I say it's not even a threat is we know the truth. And only the knowledge of the truth is what can set a man free. If you ask me, let him za his oba in Finland. Kayi kuchanata. The things that are happening in the southeast are enormous and enough trouble for us. Instead of bringing him back to come here, yasara ayi nke for afọ. Unu yasekwa na nkwuru. Unu yasekwa na nkwuru. Unu yasekwa na nkwuru. What do you think will happen when he eventually returns? Is a question. If you're asked, what should happen, or what you think would happen when he is extradited to Nigeria, what do you think will happen when he's back? Do you know what it means? That somebody has been classified as a cyber terrorist. A cyber terrorist, because for me, terrorism is bona cyber. Giving orders to a whole Igbo nation, not 5 East, the 5 states of the East. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Giving orders to a whole Igbo nation. Mono nezi, to say yes, and we say yes, and to say no, and we say no. Kunu cholije otarai, bunatarai. There are some people that also were mentioned in the course of this extraditement as sponsors of terrorism, as sponsors of Simon Ekpa. Some names were mentioned in this Daily Times. I don't know. I don't even want to mention those names, be that as it may. But Kediho Gusili, Nigerian government is really able to identify the sponsors of the terrorism of Simon Ekpa, but are not able to identify the terrorism of the Fulani headsmen and those entrants through the various borders of the north that are coming to declare a state of emergency to a people like Zamfara, to pay a given amount of money before they can even stay in their lands, cultivate in their lands, and live freely in their lands. Nigerian government haven't been able, they have not been able to identify those who are the sponsors of those headers who move from place to place to commit mayhem in the guise of each way fee. They've not been able to achieve that. But they've been able to itemize the people who are sponsoring terrorism in the East. They've not also been able to identify the people who are sponsoring the terrorism in the West. The people who set up the security apparatus in the West that will clean gradually the mayhem that the headers are performing in the West. We've never seen a list whatsoever of the sponsors and the agitators, apart from Sunday Igboho, who is the frontliner, the frontier of we need peace in our land. Nobody has been identified as the sponsor of that young man. The same thing in the North. Nobody, even when we hear kepu kepu about the names that are mentioned in the North, that they are the ones sponsoring those headers, killing people in grand style. Nothing from the Nigerian government have been done about it. But guess what? Those who are the sponsors, as alleged, of either Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa have been listed already. And you know what that means? It simply means that they cannot either come in if they are not here. They will remain outside their country if they are not here. Their businesses have been clamped if their businesses exist here. They cannot function well, neither can their families function well if they are here. That's what it means. That's what it means. You will know, I repeat again, you will know that the Nigerian government functions well when it is a matter concerning the Igbo man. That's when you will know that the Nigerian system, security apparatus function well. Do you know why? Because the moles in the system are still us, the Igbos. So it is even not the problem of the federal government. It is we who sell out ourselves to them because of some pieces of crumbs under the table that we need in line with politics, in line with seeking for power, in line with seeking for money, and in line with seeking for validation. They use Igbos to fight Igbos. That's what they do. And they succeed 100%. They do, and they succeed in this 100%. They use the Igbos to fight the Igbos. Only recently they said there was nothing like Igbo coup. Are you listening? Only recently, Babangida was saying that there was nothing like an Igbo coup. Has anything been done? Nothing will be done. What do you forget me? Nothing absolutely will be done. But I dare you, as an Igbo man, to make such a confession that there was nothing like a given tribe coup. By now, you would have been getting some love letter in one of the prisons of Nigeria. If you were the person who said that IBB said. Man, IBB said it obodo na chioche na akori aka. Atwari ego na enwere obi aṅụrị na enwe obi aṅụrị ka chinchi. If you know what that means, that's an insult to a given people. No apologies whatsoever came. Everybody pretended the word wasn't said. Nobody suggested, what do we do now that we realized that there was nothing like an Igbo coup? Nobody suggested a thing. But if it were from the West, by now, they would have been suggesting one street or one roundabout where will be monumental to say this happened and this didn't happen. Mana the southeastern governors in Kitty Hapo nobody said a thing. Obasado herself. You know what? I say this again. Bringing back this Simon Ekpa is not going to do we the Igbos any good. If you ask me again, I would say this little piece that is trying to come back, federal government, Deacon, allow it to come back. Because we are trying to even rejuvenate ourselves on Mondays and get used to going back to work on Mondays. We've not even come out from the shackles of sit at home on Mondays. And they're trying to bring back Simon Ekpa, thinking he's still the spearhead of sit at home on Mondays. No way! He's no longer the spearhead of any bull crap. Simon Ekpa. They just come out and do some jamborees. Everybody abanaga nabora. If they can remain there, then ndi bobayi ne sukorita onwe himi. I will remind you what happened in Benue when they tricked the Benue people to submit their son who was helping cause both mayhem and helping chase the nomadics who were dealing with them at that point. They tricked them into bringing out their son. And when they eventually gave out their son, and they killed their son for them, Ana sundu Benue akobanyo. Did you hear me? Ana sundu Benue akobanyo. They've not come out from the shackle of submitting their son to the federal government. They haven't. The Yorubas are wise, very educated, well-read, and smoothly intelligent. They took out their own son, sent him on exile somewhere, treated him nicely, Ruongi and Ebaha, made him a king over there, and he returned home glorious. That's what the Yoruba nation did for Sunday Igboho. Ayaye menwie. Ayaye menwie. Can we zano di ajuju? Zana ajujua. We're not saying that Simon Ekpa is a saint. We're not saying he's not guilty as charged. We're not saying no mehe yasi no mer. We're not saying ne werenda si no mero mero. Mana we are saying nyanoreba. You bring him back, they cash into him and treat us like a piece of a shit. Una kache, no. Namdekan, Simon Ekpa. Namdekan, Simon Ekpa. Una ya hamwebe miri no weba no pio boge. Aswa una akubanyo. Finish yo mwoke unu ne kwete na oneme. If you like, glory in the jamboree of Iponata Simon Ekpa. If you like, Jebabe Guna Sege, Nana Bonatia, Nana Extradited as only committee mayhem na Nigeria. People who cashed into Simon Ekpa's mayhem and committed the bigger mayhem in Nigeria. Echeki behia. Echeki behia. Yes, he had audacity. he was glamoring and glorying in himself, thinking everything was all right. But he didn't know he didn't know. And today, I'm actually extradited by 15th of July. Nigeria Kagasi no liho melonime Nigeria. The same thing melon nam de Kano. Then undo meli Nigeria go scot-free. The people who commit mayhem inside Nigeria go scot-free. The Igbos who commit mayhem outside Nigeria are extradited into Nigeria to come and face the wrath of what they did. Does it make sense to you all? Do you think about this? Some Igbo did stuff in Nigeria and was taken abroad to go and face his crime. A lot of the guys who were caught in the northern region were allegedly given amnesty and were taken away to go and enjoy themselves. Then the Igbos who committed mayhem abroad are brought back into Nigeria to come and face their crime. Simaro kemman wuri obo. Obodobu na-efuru na-efu efu na chiochi ya defu fonna. Ndị Igbo unu na-efu efu na chiochi. And unu aya hefu fonna. Otu aka ya na-eji aye na-apịa epele. Until na anyị eteta ụla mala ife anyị ji onwe anyị eme. Sit down. Kpọọ onwe gị meeting. Nobody send you. Nobody send you. In anu Igbo, nwere onye na-afọgo, ha ncha niile kpugogo, fada afọ ụzọ. Nwere onye sendele gị. Ndụmọdụ iduru onwe gị na Nigeria, mbi na Nigeria kabara gị uru. Ọsọ gị jee nwebe aṅụrị na a na-edunata nwanne gị ka ọ bịa zaba ụgba n'ime Nigeria. Jee ka ịgbaba egwu. Jee ka ịṅụba tii na-ata chicken. Egwu oye unenene. Agwago m unu. You know me? Dibịa onye ike ka nwa dị m agbara ekperi m afa. I pinpoint, I call names, I give you instances, I tell you how it happened, you go and verify. Gwazikwe na ụmụnne unu. Adama ayogu share video a. Osogo share yere. Osogo yaro. Je tunibe mmagenu na na-ebunata nwanne gị ka ọ bịa zaa ụgba na Nigeria. Nwanne nke ha mee edubu obodo oyibo ha eje zaa ụgba. Ndị gọvanọs anyị ọchajakwa oge erugo mgbe ndị nwere nne ji akpọ nne ha. Oge erugo mgbe ndị nwere nna nji akpọ nna ha na ihe eji amarụ dike eruo. Ifuru ihe ahụ eji amarụ dike o ruore. Ọsọ unu akpọnata ya Nigeria, unu akpọrọ ya tinya na ihe a na-eme ka o dozie ana Igbo. Kwa iri na ha ọkụ ka ha gbuo onye egbuo. Inugbo kwa iri na ha ọkụ ka egbuo onye egbuo. Unu akpọrọkwana ya deketa onwe unu nso. Unu akpọfụtakwana Nnamdi Kanu deketa onwe unu nso ka unu maa ka ana Igbo esi wee dị mma. Gbuonu ha egbuo dike na ọgụ ụnọ. Mbosi ọgụ ezi achọba dike. Afam ka bụ ozi ọma eji ọfọ. Ọmụ bụ ada na ofeja ji eme ọnụ ada ọ na-abịa ifuru ọchị ezi ego ga-adasịsịa. Anọ m na be m kwuo okwu a and okwu onye kwuru bi ya anaghị ewu ya. Hafunu football, hafunu jamboree, nọdụ na ana chebanye echiche. Ndị Igbo be anyị ihe na-echu anyị ụra akarịrị akarị. Tokwurie na ana nsọrụ unu vumegbe na diji n'Ọfịja. Tokwurie na ana chebanye echiche n'ihe na-eme na be anyị. Ndị ere akwa ọkụkọ shiwuru anụ nke ọgaji wuru ọkụ. anyị na-ehu na-achị ọchị akwa ọkụkọ wa anụ nke ọgaji wa ọkụ amarakwari nkụ eji hụ oke nkụ eji hụ oke shi were ihe hụ ọkpanakwukwu ọgwụcha ogologo okwu adọnya onye agwara nụ ahụ ọzọ agwakwate unu je ekwe unu ekwere unu aje ekwe unu egbenu ekene mu